All right. So you got what I would call great vision. I mean, Jay, we've interviewed on the show more than 2,500 visionaries, and some of them really try to come up with a vision, and it just doesn't quite. It's sometimes hard to see what people are up to. But with yours, I mean, you're talking about helping the world, living your best life, extending your health. You've had 70 plus operations, health wise as well, and you're still here. You've had some near death experiences that have made you a a candidate for all sorts of labs with doctors, and they can't understand what the heck happened to you.
Mhm.
You've got faith that could move mountains, in my opinion, and like you've got so much value to provide to visionaries out there. So let's start going backwards on the vision. How'd you get to where you are, and what inspires you?
I just think that being raised on a working farm with the values of a sense of urgency, responsibility, understanding very early about the cycle of life and the fact that everybody, it's like crops. It's like when you're raised in an area that has a true winter, spring, summer, fall, you see a cycle of crops. You see, it's like when you raise cattle, you see them as small and bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually they go to market. So, you know there's an end, and I'm in the early winter of my life. And I accept that. I mean, I've been fortunate because I've been in the, you can call it near death or you can call it death. I say it's death because I've been dead and they've walked away. But I'm just grateful for everything that I've been through. I'm grateful for my grandparents. I'm grateful for what I learned in Sunday school. I'm grateful for life because I don't think enough people understand that they can offer so many people something with and do with their life and what life can offer them, and then how it ties into time. Because when you're in a lot of pain, for example, just a quick example, um, the something on my screen, um, y- y- time takes forever. It takes a long time for time to go by when you're in a lot of pain and you can't do anything. So, like
Right.
right now, I know my back is hurting a lot, but we're in a conversation. We're concentrating. We're talking about something, and so that tends to eliminate that, which is kind of like it just puts it out of your mind. So it's really, I think that it's mind over matter. So much of it's mind over matter, and it's like when people tell me they can't. I don't believe that what they're doing is telling me they won't because everybody
Right.
can. Everybody can, but they just won't do it. That's what it is. But I don't know. Between that, the Marine Corps, dying when I was in the Marine Corps, a year in the Naval Hospital, getting through all that, getting back out, starting small businesses because I couldn't get a job that would let me stand and let me sit, which I needed to do because I had leg braces and I had all that. And so I thought, well, I'll just start a little business here, and I'll start, and a lot of it is, I think, in life is, when most people don't, a lot of people I found don't have a vision, to use that word again, and it's like dream big, but start small because you
Mhm.
got to start out small. You can't, if it's like inch by inch, it's a cinch, yard by yard, it's very hard, and
Mhm.
if you don't start out small and you start out big and you fail or you falter, you got a big crash. But if you start out small, you can correct it as you're going. That's just a, so, but between that and then I died again, then I started a couple more businesses. I kept the other businesses. I worked corporate. Um, uh, did very well at that.
That's
They
a
retired
lot.
me. Yeah, retired me when I was 41. And with what I put away and what I'd saved and what I made, I didn't have to do anything else. But I'm alive. I'm alive. I am grateful to be alive. I'm grateful, and 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 it's like all the re- adversities I've been through seem like nothing in a way because I've overcome so much, and I'm grateful for it. And I saw a thing, Jackson, many years ago. It was in the back of a back when you flew. in the back of the seat pocket on the plane, they had a magazine that you could buy stuff in that had little articles, and there was a page in there that had a tree growing out of a solid granite cliff. Just
Oh, wow.
yeah, and underneath it said Reverisco. And today you can Google that word, but that word was not found back then. I'm in 1986, if I'm not mistaken. And I think now it says the regreening of something. So, but back when I got back from Europe, when I was on a flight to Europe or from Europe when I took it, or when I found that page and I tore it out of the book and I took it with me. And through a friend at the University or Chicago Public Library, they researched it in Reverisco, Reverisco is a Latin derivative root for I flourish in adversity. And so I thought at that time, how much more adversity do I have to go through to say that I am flourishing? And so I've never given up. It just gave me more belief that I can overcome, and it's like when the doctors here at Seton Brain and Spine in Austin about 10 years ago said, I shouldn't be moving. I shouldn't be moving from the shoulders down. Well, I've got one arm that works. It doesn't work good. It's been rebuilt and there's lots of surgeries and stuff. My other arm, I can do it, but my hand, the rest of me paralyzed. And so, but I was in front of this group of doctors, some from around the world. There was about 25 of them. And Jim Rose, who's recently passed away, I think he did 19 surgeries on me, most of them brainstem and spinal cord and all that over years. And, and they asked him, why do you think he's able to move? Because I've got what they call Syringomyelia in my brainstem. And then I've got myomalacia followed up with Brown-Séquard syndrome. And what Syringomyelia is, real quick, it's like the golf ball, the proverbial golf ball stuck in a garden hose, okay? And it doesn't let anything through. So I've got no spinal cord fluid flowing from about here down, none. And myomalacia is a softening of the cord and the thinning of the cord, which makes it worse. And Brown-Séquard is a syndrome that has, my left side kind of has some function, a little bit, and my right side has zero. So I'm was a functioning quadriplegic with marked right side hemiparesis. But the Brown-Séquard means that I might have pain here, but not over here. Or my left side works, so you'd think that I would have feeling here. Now, I can't feel much with my fingers at all, but this side that's paralyzed is hypersensitive. But so between the the doctors asked Jim Rose, they said, Jim, for Dr. Rose, how do you feel? How do you think that he's moving? He said, number one, he's stubborn. And number two, he's an old Marine, and I worked with Marines when I was in combat. And I don't have an answer because, he shouldn't be. And they asked me, and I told them, I said, in my opinion, I'm moving because I believe I can move. I believe I can. I believe it. I have the faith in it that I can do it. I don't hope I can. I know I can. And the day that I quit believing that, the day I quit having faith in that, I probably won't. I probably will be paralyzed from the shoulder down. And that's kind of it. But the Reverisco always stuck with me. And that's why on the cover of my book, I've got a tree that's bent real bad. You can tell it's been there for a couple of 2-3 centuries, and it's due to the weather blowing it, but it's still rooted. It's still grounded. And even though it's bent, it's not broken. And that's kind of how we came up with it, because I couldn't find the other picture I was looking for.
So your book, The Strength Within You, and It's Always Too Soon to Quit by Jay Setchell. Jay, I got to say, visionaries, we've already received a lifetime of wisdom off of Jay's story. It is not easy to be a visionary. There's a lot of things that need to get done. There's perseverance that comes along with it, and his story just embodies that completely. and the uphill battles that you've faced, Jay, to be able to build the businesses that you work in and help people. It would be, I think it'd be so easy to quit in that scenario. So many of us do quit, and we have less challenges in front of us than you've had. So tell us about the strength within you, the book itself.
It's really, it covers a little bit. I had people tell me 50 years ago, you need to write a book about having died, and all this, and what you do. And by the time I was 23, was number two. Yeah, that's the tree I'm talking about. It's bent, but it's not going to quit. It's going to stay. And so we all have a strength within us. Now, if I had written a book many years ago, I sure would have missed a lot. I would have missed dying the first time. I'd have missed COVID. I'd have missed the car accident from a year and a half ago. I should have died. And a lot of stuff I would have missed. And I would have missed helping people and explaining it and understanding perseverance and determination and attitude and all of that stuff, because and I just get committed to it. And it irritates me when somebody won't try. They just won't try. But in the book, I do cover some of the medical stuff, but I don't get into a lot of detail. But I wanted, and it's not it's not about what happened to me. It's what I went through to push forward, to move ahead. So the idea of the book is really to let people know, to dig within themselves to find the strength, whether that's because they're irritated, they're frustrated, they're mad as hell, whether it's their family, their DNA, the way they were raised, what they learned in church, if they went to church and stuff. But reach within yourself to find those strengths that will give you the perseverance and the determination and the persistence and so on to move through the adversities that we're all going to face. And we all face roadblocks and detours, but to me, it's not what happens to you. It's what you did to get through it, and what you do with it afterwards. Because if you get through it and you've gotten through it, and I'm not real smart on this stuff. It's just plain old, just what I've had to do.
Experience.
Well, it's learned and earned, and I have learned a lot of wisdom, and I've earned it. And it's you don't let it go. Like the saying that I can't remember the gentleman. It's in the front of my book. Ralph Waldo Emerson is who's attributed to. Is, what lies behind us and what lies ahead of us are very small matters compared to what lies within us. So henceforth, the name of my book, The Strength Within You, because draw from your past experiences to get through the future. See what you failed at, what was a problem or what was hard. And when I get asked, Jackson, tell us about a failure. I don't think I ever had a failure. I mean, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as maybe It was tough, it was a problem, it was hard, but it wasn't a failure because I learned from it. I got through it. I might have pivoted or changed direction, but I made something good of it. Yep. And if you believe that and you have that vision that it's going to work, then follow that.
Absolutely. I have an old friend, Barbara Ann Garden Hire-Mills, and her acronym for FAIL was First Attempt in Learning. And so if we go to your talks, we don't have too much time, Jay, but I'd love for you to pick one. It's always too soon to quit, mindset in a daily discipline, Semper Fidelis, leadership under fire, the entrepreneurial spirit, faith, purpose, and moving and forward motion, 5 feet a day. Which one do you want to hit on?
I'm going to take your last one because you went through them so quick. I don't remember, and I got to come up with them first. Okay, so it's really I didn't even go 5 feet a day. I think I started out with 6 inches a day, and if it's in there, and I haven't got this put together yet. I'm still trying to get this all mentally accumulated, if you will. But the
Sure.
point was, if you just move a foot a day, okay, and I have to go back to when I was paralyzed. If I could move an inch, that 1 inch meant so much. And after 6 months
Mm,
in a hospital or in a rehab clinic, let's just say 6 months, it was longer than that. But if you move an inch a day, that's 30 inches in a month. Okay, in 6 months, that's 180 inches divided by 12 is what, 15 feet, I think. I don't recall. But I've gotten somewhere. And it's like, I talked to somebody the other day about the parallel bars. And you know what parallel bars are when you're walking, when you're paralyzed, or and they're following you with a wheelchair. And a lot of people view each hand they hold, or they try to, if their hands are working or not working, to hold on to the parallel bars. I never looked at the next step on the parallel bars. I looked at the end. I viewed the end. I want to get down there. I don't want to just get here. I want
you
to
had the
get
end
down.
in mind.
I want to get down. Yes. And it's a, but and a lot of that, it gives you, you mentioned the leadership. I think leadership is by setting an example, never giving up, never quitting, never pushing ahead, doing what others that won't do it, because you're setting the example. And that's the key in it. What am I willing to try or do and move forward? But never give up. Never give up. It's always too soon to quit.
Huge. My friends, Jay and I spent about 2 hours on the phone, or rather on a Zoom call, talking before we did this interview. And we've been talking for several weeks now. And visionaries, I think one of the greatest tragedies of life is if we don't take the time to lean into those who have decades of experience ahead of us. I'm super grateful for my mom. She used to take me to our local assisted living care facility, and we would go and visit with old folks who were there, and we'd spend time with them playing Uno and just learning little things. And and then throughout my youth, I would take the sacrament on Sundays to the members of our church who were in the elderly home. And those relationships, I know there's just wisdom that you can gain from that. There's a sociology lesson too on the rhinos. And with the rhinos, they had a zoo or a nature preserve where they took the old rhinos out, and they left the young alpha rhinos in there. And these alpha male rhinos ended up absolutely destroying this natural preserve and the ecosystem. And when they brought the old rhinos back, the old rhinos set a new order, and the young rhinos started to behave again. And the natural balance of the ecosystem began to flourish yet again. And so that sociology class that taught me that, I remember thinking like, wow, we've got to do more to include those who are retired, or those who maybe in their golden years. What can we do to make sure that we sit down and appreciate the realities of what Jay has been through and others like him have been through? I would challenge you all as visionaries to, take your vision to some people that have lived several decades on this planet and
Mm.
find out what they think about it and what they feel about it. But my other challenge to you is, first, listen as much as you possibly can. As we wrap up, Jay, if you had one final piece of advice for visionaries, or if you wanted to double down on that, by all means, feel free to. What's your final message for our audience?
First of all, going back, and you were talking about talking to older people. I heard something back 50 years ago that said, the greatest encyclopedia, the greatest dictionary, the greatest whatever in the world is sitting at the feet of your grandparents and listening to them, because they've got so much. They've lived their 70 years, like you said. And that's where it goes back. And I watch some of the stuff that's on LinkedIn and stuff, and everybody talks about all this fancy new this, and this, but they miss the basics. They miss the basics of taking care of clients, taking care of the customer. Do your best for them, because they are your paycheck. They are who you're serving. And then back up on that. That's the whole thing. But I just think that there again is digging Jackson is getting out of there is going back to what I said that Ralph Waldo Emerson put, what lies behind us and what lies ahead of us are very small matters to what lies within us. And we need to dig within ourselves and do what you said. I was going to comment earlier, but you jumped on it. You're right on. And that is ask people, because I'm 30 years older than the CEO of a company that I'm very involved in, and I'm a partner in, and we've gone international now, and it's growing like a weed. But the fact is, when I end up being more of a mentor, more of a visionary, because I bring things up like, well, what about this and this and this? Because you're missing, and they pick up on it, because it's like, wow, never thought about it that way. And all it is something we did 50 years ago that they don't teach it anymore. They don't learn it. And you said, listen to people, talk to some older folks that are experienced, that earned it and learned it, not given to them. Because what you do with your life and do by yourself, or you work on like if it is to be, it is up to me kind of concept, is when you've accomplished something, it's far sweeter and meaningful than something that's just been given to you or you've been able to go out and purchase. Because that it's like respect.
Yep, absolutely.
And so
to triple down on our shared concept, President Theodore Roosevelt, visionaries, also said, people don't care how much we know until they know how much we care. Right. And that's usually best achieved by listening. Go ahead, Jay.
I didn't know it was Theodore Roosevelt that said that, but I've said that. It's in my book. I've said it. I heard that 40, 50 years ago.
My favorite quote.
I didn't. And it's so true, because you can't sell me something, or you can sell me all day on something, but if I don't care about it, you're wasting your breath.
Right. So absolutely. And if I can't tell that somebody cares about me, then I have to wonder what their motives are. So visionaries, do your best, take care of people, listen to them, lean into our advisors, the people who are there for us. You can always contact Jay Setchell on LinkedIn. He's a phenomenal connector. Huge shout out to Ann Maxon, who I met with again today. I was on her show, Pebbles of Light. How did that happen? Because Jay connected me to Ann, and he's connected me to a number of wonderful people already. So my friends, lean in with Jay, bring him on stage. He's got a story that will leave an audience in good tears that also lead to productivity, so they can also go learn it and earn it. And we will see you guys all in the next episode of Vision Pros Live. Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a vision pro yourself.